Yeah, it was a pretty physical game for both sides tonight. With their height, just how difficult was it to guard down low?
Yeah, they're a great team, and they have some great bigs in there. Abby Draper did a great job tonight, and it was difficult. Yeah, we were trying to switch screens, and they took advantage of that for sure. We have a little bit to work on just execution-wise, but I think we can do better. They also just had a great game tonight.
Yeah, I think Draper had her career high. When a player gets hot like that, does it take down the team morale at all?
I mean, basketball is a game of runs, of course, so I think they definitely had their runs, and we had ours. We just need to be better at stopping that and not letting them get the same looks over and over again.
Then you guys face a real tough SDSU team here on Saturday. Just how do you guys reset for that game?
I think just focusing on the next game. Like, this game's over. Yeah, we'll watch a little bit of film and figure out what we can do better since State also has good bigs down there. So just learning from our mistakes in this game and looking forward to the next game.
Hey girls, just curious, what's the mood in the locker room after a game like this? Because it felt like you guys were really in it up until the fourth quarter. Just, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk with your coach yet, but what's kind of the message from coach, your teammates after a game like this?
Yeah, we fought hard, that's for sure, and NDSU is such a good team, so it was really encouraging that we were right there and we were right with them for 2 quarters. And so it's just putting 4 quarters together more than anything and just staying disciplined when the other team's going on a run or like things aren't going our way exactly.
Even in the third quarter, at the end of it, you guys were only trailing by 8. It was still a ball game. But fourth quarter, I think they outscored you guys like 21-10 or something like that. Just what went wrong for you guys in that fourth quarter?
I think on offense, we just weren't making shots that we would normally make. We had good looks, but they just weren't falling for us. And also our paint defense on the other end, I think they were getting some good looks on us.
And then, Grace, looking at the stat sheet, you played 39 minutes of 40. I'm sure at this point you're used to being relied upon like this, but just how are you feeling at this point in the season, having to carry the load that you're carrying?
Yeah, It's really exciting, but it's definitely, no matter what the stats say, it's a team effort. There's certain things that don't go on the stat sheets, like Carly tonight, her cuts were amazing, and some of the drives I don't have if she doesn't move and she doesn't cut. And certain things if Alexi isn't a lockdown shooter, so they can't help off of her. So it is really exciting to have like the ball in my hands a lot, but it's definitely a team effort overall.
Then there was a stretch at the end of the third. You guys had already cut it to 8, like in the final minute, and then you guys had an open 3. I don't know if you guys remember it. It doesn't go in. Grace, you get the steal, and then you get fouled. You hold it for the layup at the end, which it was a tough shot. It didn't go in. But if you make those 2 shots, I think you go into the fourth down by only like 3 points. Did you guys think about that at all? Did that kind of like deflate you guys a bit, if at all?
No, I don't. You can't look back on missed shots and wish. Obviously, you can wish it went different, but basketball is a game of looking towards the next play and doing it better the next time, I guess.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought our first and fourth quarters were kind of the problem quarters for us, so to speak. That was those were the quarters that they were the most offensively productive and we were the least offensively productive. Just really had a hard time hitting open shots today. I just feel like, to only score 53 points. Now, give some credit to their defense. They do a good job. They have good length. They force you into some tough shots. But also, I feel like, we had open looks. I liked a lot of the shots that we took that we weren't able to knock down. It's not typical of us to go 2 for 19 from the three-point line, but that's offense. Sometimes you can't control the offensive side of things and whether or not shots go in as well as you'd like. That's why defense and rebounding are really important. They're a little bit more of those areas that you can control. I thought we had some chances. We cut it to 6 in the third. I thought we had some good momentum. Had a couple chances to kind of continue building that momentum, and just couldn't get it done. Went into the fourth quarter down 8, and then it kind of unraveled on us. They went several possessions where they scored it. We went a few empty possessions, and they got it to 14, I think, before I called the timeout, or when I called the timeout. So then it just was kind of out of reach. But I thought we kept it, like I said, in the third. Kept it in a place where we felt like we could be in striking distance, and got it to 6, but just could not get over that hump.
Yeah, Coach, they dominated the class tonight. Outside of their height, just what made it so difficult to grab boards down low?
Well, they do. This is what they're known for. I mean, they hammer the boards. It's something that we obviously talked about, prepared for, that kind of stuff. But I think what makes them really good at it is their length, but they work really early. Before a shot's even going up, they're already carving out space. So as a defender, you got to be super alert, and you got to be ready to start working when they're working. And, it's Draper, number 2, she got us early. I think 3 of her 5 offensive rebounds were early in the game. And I think it's one of those things that you don't realize how early you got to work until you have to, try to box her out a couple times, and she's already in the spot she wants to be in before you've even moved, So she does a great job with it. She had half of their offensive rebounds, and they had 13 second chance points. I'm guessing that 10 of them were probably hers, because I think she capitalized on about every one.
Adding on to Draper, she had 29 tonight, averaged 10 on the season. Just how frustrating can it be for a player to kind of go off in a game like this?
Yeah, I think some of our catches, the catches that we allowed her to have were super deep. She hit a 3, and she, she's capable, but that's not typical. So she hit a tough kind of mid-range jumper too, I think. But she obviously we did not have an answer for her tonight. Like I said, her catches were really, really deep, and even if you bring help, when they're that deep, it's a simple, drop step, turn and finish. And she's got length, so she's gonna finish over you anyway.
Quick turnaround before SDSU on Saturday, who also has a few really good bigs. Just how do you guys plan to prepare and kind of reset for that game?
Yeah, obviously similar in the sense that the physicality is very similar to NDSU. So that part of it we should be prepared for. We just played a fairly physical game, but yeah, they've got length and size in the paint, and obviously Brooklyn Myers, a really good player. So we'll have to do a good job of preparing for her and preparing for them. The challenge with them is that they're really, really balanced. There's not, they don't put players on the floor that can't score it. They really shoot it well. They've got a really good point guard. They've got a really good post player.
Hey, Coach. Not sure how closely you follow the standings from night to night in your conference, but, if you would have won tonight, I think you would have jumped to, tied for third with a couple other teams. Is that something that you talk about with your team kind of heading into tonight? Is it something you think about, this is a pretty big game, we have a chance to, get into that top 3?
I don't, because I think every game in league is a big game. Every single one of them is going to matter. And even if it doesn't matter, or you don't think it matters in the moment, when you get to the end of the conference season, you're always going to be realizing that, whatever game you played way back in January matters. So we don't talk a lot about the standings right now. We just try to focus on the game that's right in front of us, and what do we need to do to try to win that game.
And then you mentioned in your opening statement how you guys had a chance. You guys were, I think, down 8 in the final minute of the third. You guys miss an open 3. Grace gets that steal, and then she takes a tough layup. It just doesn't go in. You make those. You're down 3 heading into the fourth. Do you feel like that's something that they kind of felt like we kind of missed an opportunity and maybe contributed to that slow start in the fourth quarter?
Maybe. Sometimes I don't know if I don't know if you're conscious of it necessarily in that moment. But I definitely think it was, the difference in momentum. Because if you go into that fourth quarter down 3, totally different feel. than when you're, down 8 and you felt like you had some chances for sure.
Aside from, Grace and Carly, who had pretty solid games, they were both in double figures. What are some positives that you kind of take away from this matchup heading into SDSU?
I think obviously there were some things defensively that didn't go great, right? Number 2 had 29 points, but our attention to the detail and our understanding of what we were trying to do was pretty good. That's a huge part of it, right? To understand what are we trying to do and what's the game plan and what are the details that we're trying to execute. Obviously we gave up a few too many offensive rebounds, but there were some positive things that we saw defensively, things that we were doing that we wanted to be doing. I think we forced, we had 7 steals. I felt like we were making good plays on the basketball. There was a few times we actually kind of got a deflection that maybe either was a kicked ball or, ended up going out of bounds or something like that, and we didn't end up with the possession. But, I thought we were doing a better job of trying to, make plays. Not just be in the right spot, but how can I make a play here and work to get a deflection or get a steal? So that's something we've been talking a little bit about is it's one thing to be in the right spot. It's the next to, be able to make a play that impacts us getting a stop in that possession.
Yeah, Coach, and then Cassidy had 3 blocks tonight. Just how happy are you with her performance down low?
Yeah, I mean, Cass has got good length. One of her blocks was a 3-pointer, and she's just really, really long, and she has the ability to cover some ground out there, and I think it's surprising for some people. And did a decent job down low. Like I said, some of it was not necessarily her not using her length. It was the deep catches, and she hasn't played a ton down there, obviously, since she's been back. So it's one of those things where, she's going to have to get some more reps down there. But yeah, I mean, her length is really helpful.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.